Head coach Justin Wilcox take about 15 minutes worth of Q&A, then we will split the rest of the time amongst our three student athletes. Coach, we know for a fact that your first question is going to come right side, second row right there in the aisle.
I knew it.
Of course. Hey Coach, Jim McGill, Barron Cider. You've had a record number of turnover this last year. I think over 50 new people between grad transfers, portal transfers, and freshmen. What have been some of the most complicated things navigating that, and what have been some of the most pleasant surprises you've seen so far through spring and summer workouts?
Yeah, the most complicated thing I think is just the time and the numbers. You know, from year to year that number's going to change. This year was higher than maybe we would have thought, but we have an unbelievable team of people around us. It's obviously the coaches, but we have an incredible staff, personnel staff, and now added GM, Coach Ron Rivera, and we got a lot of support to go identify players who physically we feel like can help us, who are going to fit in at Cal and have the character traits that we're looking for. And I think the pleasant surprise has been just once those guys have been identified and getting them into school and getting them connected together, it's been really, really fun to watch. We got a lot of really good guys on the team. We got some, and they're talented players, but the way that they've come together starting in January and then, you know, absorbing some guys even this June onto the team and working together, it's really shown up on the field and in the locker room with how connected those guys are, and that's been a pleasant surprise.
Coach, left side, first row, right in front of you.
Dan Tortora, wakeupcalldt.com. How are you, Coach?
Good, how are you?
Doing well. Just to go deeper into the general manager portion side of things, just how the college football world has evolved that now we have these general managers, and then specifically what it's like to work with Ron Rivera.
Yeah, I think the term maybe is a little more fluid than it is in pro football, in my opinion. I haven't been in pro football, but for the most part in pro football, the GM role is pretty standard. You know, it's roster management, working with the coach, a cap person, identifying players, contracts, those type of things. And there's a significant amount of that that's happening in college, but the difference is there's recruiting, you know, versus drafting. That's a big difference. And the kind of the fluid nature of college football versus the contract lengths in the NFL, that's different. There's constituent groups, there's working with the campus, there's working with donors to raise money. And the second part of your question, Coach Rivera, it's been unbelievable. I mean, he's got so many different experiences in pro football which have helped, just organizational structure, roster management, talking about players, you know, situational football, kind of from a 10,000 foot view. But his job is, I mean, it's dynamic now. I mean, he's talking to donors, he's an advocate, he's talking to folks on campus, directly to the chancellor. And so I think in college, like, we hear that term GM, but I think it really depends on which school and how they define that role, because there probably are schools where it is just cap and players. And then there's schools like us where it's a bigger role. It's really just the tip of the spear of football in general. And there's a lot that goes into that. So I think that's where, you know, it's a little bit different than maybe the NFL.
Coach, right side, fifth row, hard to the right.
Hey Coach, Thomas Christopher from the League Winners. Last year we saw a quarterback competition between Fernando Mendoza and Chandler Rogers. Will that be the case? I mean, obviously those two are gone now. Will we see a similar type of competition play out between Devin and Jerron?
Yeah, you know, we feel, first of all, we feel really good about our quarterback room. Devin, Jaron, EJ, we got some talented quarterbacks. Not a ton of experience. That just is what it is. Now, Devin came to us in January. Devin's, you know, been in college football. He's been trained very well. He's a really smart guy. He's very mature. He's done some great stuff for us. Jaron came in mid-year out of high school. Very natural football player. It's going to be competitive in that room, and it's going to be competitive throughout the roster, to be honest with you. But the good thing is we feel like this team at each position is probably as competitive or more competitive than any team we've had in our tenure there, so that's a good thing. The goal is to bring in as many good players as we possibly can who fit us, who fit Cal, and let the competition sort the depth chart out.
Coach, your next two questions will be side by side, third row left.
Coach, how are you?
I'm well, how are you?
Good. Katrina Sackett, Sports and Culture Media. Piggybacking off the question from the front row, we've seen a wave of schools transitioning into the GM world. With newly added Ron Rivera, what insight are you hoping he brings to this program as well as your coaching strategies on the field?
Yeah, like I said, I mean, we get to talk about anything and everything that has to do with Cal football. And when Coach got there, I mean, there's an element of him, you know, watching kind of what we do and how this college football thing is working, and you know, the similarities to pro football and then the significant differences to pro football, and talking through those and how, you know, his experiences and what he's been through, how we can take and learn from those and apply them, whether it's, you know, third down defense or organizational structure and coaching and roster management and all these different things. So it's been awesome. I mean, it really has. And the thing that makes it so unique is, I mean, he's a Cal Bear through and through. I mean, and he will tell you that, and he will carry that flag, and he obviously carries a lot of weight with our donor group and our campus, and just who he is as a person, his experience, what he's accomplished in his life. It's just been awesome for me personally, for our coaching staff, for our players, for our donor base, for our university. It's just been an incredible addition and advocate for Cal football.
Coach, we'll stay right there.
Hey Coach, Tony Syracuse, the last word on sports. You've been coaching, you've been in the system for quite a few years. Are these changes with the way college sports is structured, college football is structured, is it harder for someone who has been in to make, as long as you have to make that transition, as opposed to a coach who has basically just grown up during this?
Do I look that old?
You don't look that old,
Okay, well,
but you've
thanks.
been doing this a few years.
You weren't supposed to answer that, but okay. That's a great question. It's changed a lot, but it's really changed in the last 4 or 5 years. You know, from 2001 to 2019, the names and faces changed, but essentially the rules of the game and how it was done were pretty similar. And then it's changed a lot. The things that the players are subject to, and kind of the changes in college football with the transfer portal, conference realignment, NIL, and players making money now, that is significant. Any one of those things in a 10-year window would be a big deal. And when they all three happen kind of at the same time, boy, that's a lot of change. And so it's our job as coaches is to help, you know, navigate that for our respective programs. So that has been different, and it's been a challenge, and it's been fun, and there's been some times where it's, you know, not as fun, but you're just trying to find a way to do what's best for the program, because that's ultimately our job. And when you start taking into account the coaching history and what were you accustomed to, you know, at the end of it, these guys need mentoring and they need coaching. And I know there's this kind of feeling sometimes, whether it's from fans or donor bases or schools or even coaches, well, it's like, well, now they get paid. It's like the NFL, but it's not. They're 17, 18 to 22, 23-year-old guys. They still need to be coached. They still need to be mentored. Okay. Is it a bit more complicated? Yes, it is. But I will tell you, what hasn't changed is when you go to meetings, that hasn't changed. Like the rules of the game, the dimensions are the same. It's still 11 on 11. The rules are the same. The fundamentals of the game haven't changed. What's important, how to block, how to tackle, pad level, all these things that we've talked about, how to backpedal, what's cover three, like that hasn't changed. So from when you go to the meeting room, you go to the walkthrough, and you go to the football field, it's the same. If you have an issue as a coach or an administrator or a staff member with this new environment, then you got to decide whether it's for you or not, you know. It's our job to coach the guys and mentor them and help them become better. If you, as a coach, don't like it, like we're all working here on our own free will. We don't have to coach. You know, we have to be a part of these programs. We get to do this, and we better adapt. And it might, yeah, I can understand there's some frustration at times figuring out, like, well, how's this going to go? But you either, you know, figure it out and find a way to embrace the change and continue to coach them and mentor them because that's what they need, or you need to do something else.
Coach, right side, third row.
Kenton Gibbs, Locked On ACC. Your coach, This team was competitive all last year. However, 2-5 in single-digit or one-score games. How do you fix that, especially being in the unique situation of losing your statistical leader in virtually every category? How do you fix that into this year with so many new faces?
Yeah, you didn't need to remind me, but I know the stat. Yeah, some difficult, frustrating losses. We had plenty of opportunities to win those games, and I wish it was as simple as, well, we need to do this one drill or address this one position or fix this one problem. It's not that simple. It's everything. It's coaching and schematics. What are we going to do better? It's off-season programming. What are we going to do better? It's food. It's our class schedule, so we have the best situation to teach and practice our players. It's admissions and recruitment and talent acquisition and talent retention. It's support from every level of our institution. It's our sports med. I mean, I could name 50 things that can help us, okay? And thankfully, Coach Rivera and our chancellor have been very, very supportive in things that we can do to make the program better, because ultimately it's one play in the game. It's one more defensive stop. It's another score in the red zone on offense, a touchdown, and maybe a field goal that we connect on. Okay, but any one of those 50 things, like, we all got to be pulling in the same direction, so when those moments come up, that we're able to capitalize on them and win those games. And the other thing you can do to solve for that is not be in so many close games and score more points and get them off the field more often. So you either create bigger margins, or when those margins are small, you got to be better in those critical moments. You had a second part to your question. Oh, the statistical leaders. Yeah, I mean, last year we had, I can't recall all the statistics, but we were a pretty darn good defense. We had a few bad quarters, but overall we had a pretty darn good defense. Now, we lost some really good players off that defense. However, we got some dang good players back, and we feel like there's some young guys and some new guys, I should say, not just young guys, but new guys who are going to be really good defensive players. Offensively, we weren't as good statistically. We didn't score as much as we needed to. I'm a firm believer you got to try to get to 4 offensive touchdowns a game. Now, is that always going to happen? Maybe not, but that's the goal, score 4 offensive touchdowns a game. We were a little short on that. We know that we lost some players, but we also feel like we have added some players, and we can be as or more productive offensively. And then in the special teams game, it's field position and executing field goals. And so all that right there can be the difference in those one-score games, which if you win those, then we're up here probably having a totally different conversation.
Coach, thank you for the time. You can switch spots with Devin.
Thank you.
We will spend